you are leaning anything in the realm of avoidance, you probably have a tendency to want to not feel your emotions, keep them at bay. So there might be some dissociation, numbing, escaping. You got to activate. You got to feel your emotion. You got to activate. So you got to start turning towards, I say. Most avoidance turn away. You got to start turning towards, and you're going to probably become under-regulated. You go from over-regulation of emotion to under-regulation of emotion, usually when you're starting learning to process emotion. It's like one of the most important things. And then moving towards like some form of inner child work, or I call it like consciously connecting with the victim. Most people with insecure attachment have a victim part of the inner child that is hurting. He or she is angry, and a lot of us learn to just buck up. Like, you know, so we maybe bypass the victim stage. Going back, connecting with the victim. So that might look like anger journaling, rage journaling. I know you talk a lot about that. These sorts of things. There's trauma work that needs to be done, and I think that's really a bulk of this work. I've done T.S. Gibson's training on like subconscious reprogramming and this sort of stuff. Amazing work, but it has to be sectioned in at the right point in the healing journey. If you try to do subconscious belief reprogramming with somebody who has a lot of trauma that's not been processed, it's not going to work. And I see that with my clients, and it was a massive lesson I learned. I'm like, you can't do this work unless there's trauma work been done. So some somatic work, anger journaling, inner child work, giving the voice back to this wounded part of us. Then I see the subconscious belief reprogramming work as the building back up, right? So you got to kind of tear everything back down, and you got to heal and cry and grieve. Then you do the subconscious belief reprogramming to kind of have the remembrance of I am worthy of love. You know, people aren't always going to betray me. I can trust again, right? Because the traumatized nervous system will never let you trust again if you don't do the work of releasing some of that stored emotion from the system. So, and there's so many modalities, honestly, that I've used. I would say plant medicine's been tremendous for me. Like I've used psilocybin and ayahuasca. I don't recommend just to run off and go do that. Like, you know, it's something that you'd want to like work towards, have an anchor point. But I know for me, plant medicine has been very helpful for trauma healing. And finding a practitioner, whether it's a coach, a therapist, counselor, whatever, that is trauma trained, not just trauma informed, they have to be trauma trained, you know, attachment theory trained. And I think probably IFS, like internal family systems work, would be some of the modalities I would look for in a therapist if I was moving towards somebody that I wanted to do this work with.